and welcome to the God is a Geek podcast. My name's Adam Cook and I am your friendly host along with my friendly neighbourhood Chris. How are you, Chris?
I'm good, man. Good.
Did you get it? Cause...
Oh yeah, that was beautiful. I loved it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure you got it. Gary Bailey is here. Did you get it, Gary?
I did.
Okay, well, as long as we're all on the same page and that we all understand that Spider-Man's a thing. How is everyone? Gary, let's start with you, because you always sound the most cheerful. How are you?
I'm very vanilla.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that.
No, I'm okay. I'm okay.
Okay. Do you know what? Listen, I'm as excited as the listeners are to find out, after 2 weeks of waiting, what your favourite ice cream is. But that we will get to that as listener correspondence. Chris, you all right, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right.
You sure? Listen, I'm just going to get this out front here. If anyone hears any sort of background noise during this week's episode, it's because we probably all got fans on, as well as being completely naked. Because, hey, that heatwave thing that went away for about 24 hours is back with a vengeance. And while you don't want to hear us complain about being hot, it's really, really hot, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I am in my underwear, but to which underwear I am wearing, we will leave for listener correspondence too. So, yeah, well, there's an image for you.
There is, and speaking of hot, I bet it's, if not more hot, it's at least as hot in New York.
Oh, I sense one. I sense one coming.
Did you Spidey sense one?
Oh my god, that was improv at its finest, mate. Like
Mary MJ.
Yeah, brilliant.
Did you take any MJ? No, is it MJ? Mary Jane?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Chris, you played you played Marvel Spider-Man. You went down. In fact, do you know what? Before we get into it, and we get into it, we shall. I just want to point out here up front, I'm changing it about where the Patreon plug goes. Literally, it was paid for. The trip to play 2 of the preview games you're going to talk about here was paid for by the Patreon supporters. $1 a month on patreon.com/godisageek gets you exclusive and early access. But to this pod, you get early access. There's a longer version of this pod. Go and have a look on patreon.com/godisageek. I won't plug again, but there you go. Just know that the people who do back us, to support us and get the premium edition, I guess, of this podcast, and indeed the premium version of godisageek.com, those people actually funded Chris to go and play Marvel Spider-Man. And Chris, the floor is yours. No, the ceilings and walls are yours. Spurt your Spidey stuff. Spurt your web everywhere, Chris.
I'll splurt it everywhere. So It was well, I could talk about anything. So I mean, is there anything you want to particularly know about? And I'll just go for it.
Well, I think Gary should ask, because I sort of got my chance when we did the preview chat for the video, which you should go and watch on youtube.com/godisageek, because there's some 4K footage there that's very nice looking. But Gary, what do you want to know about Marvel Spider-Man?
I just want to know if it's as fun to swing about New York as it was in Spider-Man 2.
Oh yeah, I mean the options for doing so are tenfold now. There's not just swinging from building to building. There's a whole load of dynamics in there as well, and there's also the option to upgrade and make your abilities a lot better as you play.
Can you do stuff like this, like slingshotting, that kind of thing?
Well,
is that not
in the 2 hours? I didn't see that because it was. What do you mean in terms of
like what he does in the films and stuff? Where he literally slingshots himself.
Right,
he shoots a bit of web.
Oh, so like
2 points.
Web to the left and right, pull himself back and right.
No, not yet. But the basic movements are to hold R2 to swing from wherever to wherever. Now, like most Spider-Man games, you don't see where it connects above you. But there are a lot of lampposts and big cranes and all sorts that if you're falling down through the air, you will see a little icon appear, very much like Batman at Arkham. You can then grab on that and swing from it, or if you're above it, you can press your 2 trigger buttons and it will pull you closer to that object, and then as you land on it, you press X to bounce off it. So you never feel like you're stationary. You literally swing, pull yourself in, jump back off it into the air, carry on swinging with R2, and you can get anywhere, and the movement in the air is incredible. Like, you can change direction at the drop of a hat. And the actual visuals of you seeing yourself do that are just incredible. Like, they've thought about it very well, and the whole running up buildings is back, but it integrates very well into the swinging. So, I mentioned in the preview, but if you swing dead on to a building, you'll then just start running up it straight away, get to the top, and there's a free running mechanic which you hold R2 in when you're running, and you'll jump over any obstacles that are on the roof. So you very rarely just stand still and stop. There's always something to help you keep moving. So you could do everything you could do in the Spider-Man games before, but it's just a hell of a lot more to it, and it's very kind of fluid.
Which Spider-Man is this? Because from the footage I've seen in that, I feel like it seems like it's their own take on Spider-Man, but I also feel like it's kind of got one foot into the current Marvel Spider-Man. Like, I feel like the voice actor is close to the Marvel Spider-Man. If not, it's not him, obviously, because if they got him, they would have. When the scenes with his mask off, it would be him. But I feel like it's kind of one foot in there and one foot into a unique Spider-Man, their own.
Yeah, I mean it's very much their own take on Spider-Man. They do take influence from what's come before. But one of the cool things about game developers when they're currently taking on superheroes is they've got free reign to do what they want. Like, for instance, Batman: The Enemy Within, the second series of the Batman, that kind of did so much with that universe that it was nothing like.
Do you know what? I forgot all about that.
There's nothing like.
I forgot that existed.
Nothing like anything that had come before, but it works so well. And very much like this, there are characters that, like, you've never seen them before, and that was just from the first 2 hours. But as for Peter Parker himself, you are Peter Parker, except he's not a kid anymore. He's 23. He's not working at the Bugle taking photographs. He's a scientist. And he's working in a lab. I'm trying to be very careful and stick to the guidelines. But he...
yeah, not breaking embargo.
No, exactly. Yep. But he works on a lot of important tech. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But he's basically a lot mature. He's been around for a long time. There are villains he's fought before. It kind of starts off with clippings of panning across newspaper clippings in his bedroom where it shows your fights he's had and a bit of the history. And there's like a photo of Ben, his uncle. So that's all happened. He died a long time ago, and he's growing up. But I have no idea. I don't know if this is even going to be a thing or not. But Miles Morales is in this, and he is currently Spider-Man in the comics. I
remember him being in one of the trailers.
Yeah, and he's in the. I didn't see him, but he is. He's like a bit of a, not a bumbling kid, but just a bit of a goofy kid. Very very much how Peter was back in the day. And I'm wondering whether at some point you will get to be him, and he'll kind of pass the mantle over. I don't know how, because you saw the stuff at E3 when he looks up at the end of the trailer, and you've got to think, is that Miles who's kind of wearing the outfit now, and he's turned up to help him, and it feels like it's going to be a passing of the torch.
But you say that, like, do we difficult, because I know, like, in some American previews they got like nearer 4 or 5 hours. But like, I was left wondering, like, let's face it, like, I've always said there's more than just God is a Geek out there. People have probably seen other previews. It's not just us that are gaga over this preview we played. Like, it's the opening of the game. It's not just us. Like, this has been pretty much universally, this is amazing. The amazing Spider. No, I won't. But it's been pretty universally praised as that. Do you think this is going to be? And again, it's difficult based on 2 hours, 2 and a bit hours, whatever, 4, 5, whatever. But it's going to be difficult to say. But do you think this is going to be kind of the jumping off point for them to do the Batman Arkham thing of going Batman Arkham, 1, 2, and 3, as it were? Oh, well, 4 technically, I suppose there was Origins in there, but this. I just feel like with a license like this, if it does well, and let's face it, unless it goes shit real quick and for real long, this is going to do well. It's, people love Marvel at the moment. People can't get enough of Marvel. There's games now like this coming. It feels as though if this does well, which again, I think it will probably, I could see this outselling God of War, honestly, just because of the Spider-Man aspect, the Marvel element alone. This is going to be a series, right? I mean, we don't know story-wise, but this is going to be...
Oh, 100%. I think, Spider-Man...
Why wouldn't they?
The Spider-Man universe is the most kind of rich universe in the Marvel world, really, because...
Well, it's on the web, isn't it? And the web's massive,
Fucking
Chris.
hell, you were on it, mate. I'm so proud of you tonight.
That's it. I'm not going to lie, mate. If we're on the other foot, I'd have been disgusted that you made that joke.
I know you would. I know, but
that's a dad joke.
I appreciate what you're doing. That's all.
Okay.
But yeah, there's Venom, who's a massive Marvel character. I doubt he'll be in this. They're starting off strong with the Sinister Six, but you've got so many characters that are still big characters,
funny.
but
It's funny you say that, right? Because sorry, Chris, to cut across you, but you mentioned Venom there, and obviously the Venom film is soon. I think it's this year, isn't it?
Yeah,
October.
Okay, so it's a few months off yet, but without spoiling too much, God of War, the reboot God of War, the one that was this year, the one we all loved, absolutely 100% sets up the next game, if not the next couple of games. I would imagine that's the template that, although Insomniac are making the game, I would imagine that's the template. There's someone gone, hang on, look, make this lead into that. I just don't. I'm not sort of preemptively saying, oh yeah, no, the end of this game's not going to be satisfying, because I found the end of God of War tremendously satisfying. But I don't know. This is weird, because in a way, I was thinking about Microsoft the other day and how everyone was moaning about, Halo this, another Gears, another Forza. It's not. There's parallels here starting to, appear. I think, The Last of Us, Uncharted. I don't think they've quite milked these games, but there's definitely parallels. What I'm saying is people like sequels, Chris.
Yeah, they do. But I think one thing that Sony are definitely doing at the minute is they're putting a hell of a lot of time into making quality games. Like, you look at the last few.
Well, Microsoft aren't, Chris. Is that what you're saying? Are you saying, Chris White? Are you saying Microsoft don't go for quality, Chris? Is Gary, get him? Is that what he's saying?
You know what? Yeah, I am. Microsoft is shit. No, only joking. But no,
I'll cut this bit out. It's too late.
God of War, Horizon.
Sorry, hang on. Timestamp 11 minutes 37. Well, cut Chris to make him look yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Microsoft aren't shit. I'll just keep saying that sporadically through the pod. And
the rest of the podcast is just that.
But yeah, I think the quality on offer in those 2 hours, I can't say it enough. It's not just, oh, cool, I'm Spider-Man again. It's the effort that has gone into making this the most authentic superhero game I've ever played, bar Arkham. It's incredible. The combat is insane.
But and with Arkham, with Batman, there was a so with Gary, I might need your help here just to make, because my memory's shit. But with Batman, right? The idea it was basically a Metroidvania. Yeah. In a new style, and as you progress through the game, you would get new skills. But with Batman, they were gadgets. Do you know what I mean? You would, I think, if I remember correctly, you found or you unlocked or it's even a story point you got. In fact, don't you get out of the boot of the Batmobile where you get the C4 basically?
Yeah, you got that, and Alfred, I think, would send the.
That's right, the Batwing.
Yeah. And drop off stuff.
But that kind of makes sense, because with Batman, there's no limit of basically, look, if you can think of some weird tech, he's got the money, he's made it. Yeah. With Spider-Man, the one concern I have, and I've seen the footage, I've read the preview, I've read others, I'm dying to play, I want this game right now, but to play devil's advocate, the concern I would have is that I would bet money that Marvel Spider-Man, the game, will be a long game. I'd say at least 20, if not 30. It's an open world game, that's kind of standard. The concern I have is that how do you... Because I read an interview somewhere or a comment or a quote that basically they said, we want you to feel like Spider-Man straight away. So there's no hours and hours of tutorials. It's like, Chris, you played the opening and you said the same. It's like, you're just into it, right? You're into the game and you're a Spider-Man, you're a superhero. I'm intrigued as to how... Because you mentioned in the preview video, skill trees and stuff. I'm interested as to how they keep that in a similar way to Batman. They keep progressing you without it feeling false. Does that make sense? Because I'm not a huge Spider-Man fan. No. I'm a more recent Spider-Man fan.
But go on, Gary.
I say, Peter Parker makes a lot of the stuff himself, doesn't he? So I suppose that's how they do it. Instead of him...
the core of being Spidey is the slinging, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
But it'll be you've seen Spider-Man Homecoming, for example, all the stuff he had in that suit. So there's
the second suit.
Yeah, the one that
the Iron Man suit. Yeah.
So there's kind of scope for him to do something similar, but rather than it being all Stark tech and that, it'd be little bits that Peter Parker had on himself.
So what I will say is, Horizon, when you played God knows how long of that, what new stuff do you actually learn? I barely diverted. I barely diverted from the main weapons. I very rarely went and bought a new bow or or whatever. But
well, after 20 hours, I was kind of stuck with my setup, and I just only changed it to do the because I 100%ed that, as I mentioned before. I only changed it up when I had to do the the camp hunt things where you had to do. You completed Devil's Advocate,
but also the amount of suits on offer that you've got that have got different different skills and stuff that you can use, and there's multiple gadgets you can unlock with the tokens you collect. So there will be a lot, and they showed silhouettes of the costumes, and some of them they're very clear what kind of costumes there are. And as like a Spider-Man fan, it's very exciting. But even when you see the comics and watch the films, they look like they've put in ones from the movies, like the pre-order is the Iron Spider suit thing from the Avengers. So
that's
they've
true.
got, and there's a new Spider-Man film coming out in December. It's an animation called Into the Spider-Verse.
Can we talk about that very briefly, because that looks something else, doesn't it?
Oh, it's glorious. Yeah,
that
absolutely
just
beautiful.
Gorgeous.
And it's proper diving into all sorts of Spider-Man stuff, like even the stupid spider things like Spider-Ham, which is a pig in a spider costume.
What? Not. See, I feel like they should have got Spider Pig in there from The Simpsons.
They should. But we digress. But I think there's plenty of room for it to keep people occupied.
Consider me back on the hype train then.
Yeah.
But let's move on, shall we? Because speaking of hype trains, and speaking of things, I said about people like sequels. On the very same day that you played Marvel Spider-Man, you also went to Capcom HQ and played another game. And anyone who follows the site closely will know exactly what game it is. We couldn't play it at E3, so we played it now. On what I am dubbing, and I'm going to try and get this right, the friendly neighbourhood Chris has gaming Christmas in London. You played Resident Evil 2 Remake.
Oh, I did. It was a fantastic day. Yeah.
Well, it didn't start well, mate. Let's be honest.
It didn't end well because I never told you about what happened on the train home. But
okay, we'll save that for the
Patreon.
That
later. Yeah. Wow, it's just fantastic. Like everything people want from this, it looks like it is. It's fully there. Like, I mean, when Resident Evil came out, the remake on the GameCube, it was beautiful, and now this is the PS4. Like, this is something else. And I mean, we've all seen the gameplay because we talked about it, and we all know what it looks like. But it's so good to control as well. It's just great. It's a modern game. It's a modern game with an old story that holds up 100%. They've nailed the survival horror totally. Like, it's incredible. Like the scene where those two police officers burst through the door in that office. Like, it's just constant. And the fact that you barely find any ammo anywhere. I mean, my only concern is the fact that some of the zombies, after shooting them multiple times in the head, are still alive. But
I've been thinking about this.
That adds to the.
I've been thinking about this.
Go on.
It's a bit crossing the streams because I'm aware there are probably people who listen to the podcast who perhaps don't listen or watch videos or read the site. But I would strongly urge you to go and look at youtube.com/GodIsGeek. We got a good 20 minutes of. Well, you played the demo twice and we actually captured it twice when we talked over the second time. And the thing we all noticed, Gary, yourself included, is that it seemed like it was on the highest difficulty. But I think it might actually be a case of that, given you think about it now, we're in August, this game's not out for 6 months. I would imagine there's some difficulty fine-tuning to go on yet.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's more likely. There's no way that game ships that hard in the first 20 minutes.
No, I'm having a demo that's that kind of solid this early is remarkable. So they've got plenty of time, as you say, to fine-tune everything. But there was no issues with anything, no issues with performance. The acting or the voice acting is surprisingly really good for Resident Evil.
Right. Well, yeah.
It's really, really well done, and I just want it now.
They've very much moved away from the ham of the earlier games, haven't they? It's just seven was good, and
there's a lot of ham in the past if we want it still, isn't there? I suppose.
Yeah.
There always is with remakes. It's like when you get those ones that people hate, or they'll get you ones that you should never have made that. But it's but it doesn't stop the original one from existing. You can go back and play that, or watch the film, or whatever it is that you hold so dearly.
I think there's an argument to be made, Gary, that maybe the remake is perhaps now better than the original. And I would extend that to Zero, if not for the fact that it's still... I feel like Zero is a better game than given credit for, but it's still... No matter how you dress it up, it takes so long to get going.
What, Resident Evil Zero?
Yeah, I feel like
that's a garbage game.
Gary,
don't start saying that that's good. It's a terrible
I think Zero's
game.
a good game, but I think you like a director's cut. If I'm the director, I cut the whole train section and have it some sort of cutscene.
I'd get rid of Billy because he's fucking nonsense. That guy.
Okay, but if you, what I'm saying is, if the train scene is like a big CGI intro, and you cut to the mansion, I think that's a better game. I think it's a good game because it's basically then Remake again, isn't it? But with the story not as good. You know what I mean?
See, my biggest problem was it kind of... I don't know, it kind of took the piss out of it. Because you remember Rebecca in the original game, and in Remake, she's kind of useless because she's just a scared girl on her first mission. Yeah. And yet, here is now telling us that she's gone through basically kind of saved the world almost, and then she's just like, "Oh no, sorry, I'm useless again now." It's like,
I'm useless again.
It's bullshit.
Yeah,
I thoroughly dislike that game.
Okay, well, listen, Resident Evil 2, Gary, you've seen the footage now. How are you feeling about it?
Jealous. Jealous that Chris got to play it, and also just thinking, why is it not January? Just I don't care about anything else. No, like quite literally, I could happily bypass like Red Dead 2 and stuff. Just go straight for Resident Evil 2.
Gary, come on, man. This is why people talk about you on Twitter, man. This is. Come on now. Listen, I'm with you. I was with you for most of that statement, and then you just had to Gary it, and you took it too far. Oh, Gary.
Not far enough.
I'm not cross, I'm just disappointed, Gary. Yeah.
You'd think that'd affect me, but...
No, you'll just keep ploughing forward, mate. It's been established that you're bullheaded with your Garyness. You're the ultimate Gary. But if you want a hard... Because it does seem hard, the demo. If you want a hard game that is also just absolutely incredible, I present to you, Dead Cells.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I've heard of this one before.
No, I've never mentioned it before. That's the thing. It's a brand new game. Technically it's an old game because although it's changed a lot, the biggest change I remember during the early access period was they changed the art style, and I actually, at the time, didn't feel it. I felt like I preferred the original. But I think it's one of those things where if you play for something long enough, you kind of don't want that change, you know?
Yeah.
But I have now played it on PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. I've played every version of this game, and I'm here to report to you that whatever version you pick up, and you will be picking it up, I hope, listener, and Gary and Chris. In fact, Chris, you've played it, so I don't know why I'm telling you.
Yeah, mate.
But like, I hope that people... The only difference you're really going to see is, like, Switch, obviously, the performance is absolutely fine, but you're not going to get, like, if you've got a Pro or Xbox One X, you're not going to get, like, the upscaling 4K. But does that matter in this kind of game? I'm not convinced. It's just an amazing game. I don't really know where to start. It's a roguelite, but it's also a Metroidvania kind of. It's, you know, every time you die, you go back to the start, but you can unlock new weapons that you can start randomly with. You collect cells, you can speed run it. The thing about this game is the combat is just so tight. Like for what it looks like, you'd imagine it to maybe feel a bit woolly, but it's so tight. It just feels responsive and quick, and it rewards you for like. I think for the whole time I was playing the early access build on PC, over a year ago, I don't think I ever bothered with the shield. So when I was playing it on console, I was like, I should give these a go. And they turn it into Dark Souls in a way, because you can start parrying and you can, and then you start thinking, well, actually, I should try every weapon. And every weapon is viable and different, upgradable. Like, there's a next level of it. It's such a rewarding, deep game. I'm just desperately worried it will get lost in the melee of August, where the games start,
Although, I suppose, it's releasing, next week or this week is when this will be out?
When this goes up,
so, I think it might be early enough that it might avoid some of it. Because it's kind of towards the end of August when, the bigger stuff's starting to appear. For the most part, anyway. So, it might not get lost.
I don't know, man. It's an indie game.
Yeah. Having said that, the thingy one's later, innit? The physical release. So
Yeah.
perhaps maybe it will get a little lost. But
I mean, I think it's super smart to launch day and date with Switch, the same week, because that will sell gangbusters. I mean, Chris, people have heard me talk about it a lot. What do you think of it? Because you've only just been playing it, really, for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I very much dabbled with the early access back in the day. I'd spent about 10 minutes on it, but
did you? I didn't even know that.
Yes, but I don't really remember it. I remember liking it, but as I said, I didn't play enough to kind of appreciate it. So playing it now, like it's a perfect game to just get lost in, because as you say, the combat is just beautiful, and when I mean it is slightly procedurally generated, like every layout kind of changes somewhat. But
they change within laws that make the levels make sense.
But not crazy. But it's when you start to...
So level 1 is a certain aesthetic, level 2 will be a certain aesthetic. Each time they change level, they're on the same location, but they're a different layout.
Yeah. It's when you master certain weapons and stuff like that you can then go through the level again and you just feel amazing, because you're just taking them out like with expert precision. And there are obviously lots of different enemy types, and they all kind of work together really well. So you've got those ones that I don't know what they are, like green blobs that transport to you and take you out if they hit you, like rushing across the screen. And there's those ones,
they're kind of zombies.
Yeah, the ones that like throw the bombs at you. There's guys with shields that run at you. But
in the original, before they changed the visuals up, those two basically were the same looking, but they were just different colours. They were green and purple. Yeah. And now the purple one looks different.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, but to me at the time I was like, why have you changed that? But now it's fine. Now I'm okay.
Yeah. And what Mick says in his review about using the I'll say circle button, but it's whatever button that correlates to on every console, makes you dodge, but essentially jump through them. So it's a slight...
It's a Souls thing.
Yeah, it's a slight few seconds where you're invincible as you do that. So it just works really well, especially that when you die, it's all the way back to the beginning. So it kind of... When you get used to using that a lot, it works beautifully. But I mean, I've spent a good 3 or 4 hours of it, and I think it's great. It's absolutely great, and it's a real indie game and I just hope it does something, because the amount of effort that's gone into it, not just in the controls, but just everything. It feels like it has that Souls story to it as well. It's all very kind of quiet, but it's told through what you see more than what you read or hear. It's just I'm very much in love with it.
I mean, the developer was
good as well.
Yes,
it was very informative. It tells you pretty much exactly how the game plays while you're watching him play it, and it's worth checking that out.
I mean, like, the developer was in the news recently because they sort of revealed the way they pay their staff. Did either of you guys see this, actually?
No.
No.
So they're a French studio, and they basically, I'm reading from Gama Sutra here, because the quote is, they call themselves an anarcho-syndical workers cooperative. And what that basically means is everyone has equal pay. So it doesn't matter what your job is. So to put it into perspective, like editor-in-chief, staff writer, news editor, whatever, it doesn't matter your position, you all get the same wage. And it basically, if a project finds success, they say people are paid more in bonuses, and everyone's paid the absolute same way. The devs and the artists are paid the same amount of money, and people like him, this is Dead Cells designer Sebastian Bernard. So people like him who've been there 17 years are paid the same amount of people who were recruited last year. And I think that's a really interesting way to do things. I'll be honest with you. That's, you reward people making a good game, regardless of, who does what.
Yeah.
Speaking of other new games, I want to briefly touch on Overcooked 2, because I really did like Overcooked, and I've been playing that as well on PS4. And they've added... There's not much to say, really, because there'll be a review of it up from Mikhail, but we played a bit of multiplayer, and that's pretty good as well. That the thing about this now is you can do online multiplayer, so if you haven't got friends to play locally with, because it's not best played single player, really. You can switch between the two chefs, but it's better played with people. I played with my kids, and there's 3 of us, and it was just so much fun. We went from being angry at each other to laughing with each other, and that's a good co-op game,
Yeah.
Like, you can throw food in this one, and so my eldest realised that, and I hadn't told him, on purpose, because I knew what he'd do, and he did it, and basically he was just lobbing raw ingredients everywhere all the time, which was funny. You go through the stages of, yep, that's funny, to, look, come on now, let's get this, just do it. Okay, we're retrying. Come on now, let's do this, to laughing again. And that's a good co-op game. That's a good co-op game. You know, that's. I'm trying to think what else. They've added some little things when you're on the map that, they add a bit of flavour, but they're not essential. You know, it's more levels, it's more everything really, and it does enough to be a sequel. And I still think Overcooked is a terrific series and a great idea. So, you know, review of that will be up this week. Play that if you haven't got, you know, enough to play with Dead Cells. And of course, people will have just been playing, Chris, very briefly, the Black Ops 4 beta.
Yeah. I don't really know what.
You all right there?
No, not really.
What were you expecting? That's the question.
It's been a long time since I've played Call of Duty Online.
How long?
What have the last one's been? I can't even.
Well, Infinite Warfare, World at War. No, World War. I can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, World War 2.
Modern Warfare.
I reviewed that game, but
Modern Warfare 3 probably.
Okay, it has been a very long time.
Yeah,
yeah, because like I dabble with. I may have dabbled with another one, and I think that just kind of maybe go, yeah, no, I'm older now. I don't.
Yeah.
Like if you get it release day and stick with it, you're able to keep up somehow. You take a day off, go back, you are getting obliterated. Yep. So I don't know. Maybe I've suppressed that memory. So I thought, hey, come on, let's give it a go. Start afresh.
I think it's age, because I'm the same as you. I feel like it's been getting. I actually feel like the rapidity of being killed for me has grown, and I keep my eye on with these kind of games. Like, I'm pretty good at Titanfall 2. I'd love to find the time to go and play that again. But with Call of Duty, I feel like there's such a hardcore audience that just play that game as a shooter that you kind of can't keep up, and that sort of means the multiplayer is not for you anymore, and that's a shame. But then that's also perhaps why they go so heavily into the zombies every year.
Yeah, I reckon. I wasn't disappointed. I just kind of expected it, but I can't cope with.
Oh, okay.
No, I can't cope with dying a lot when you've not like the kind of spawn points. Like, I spawned many times into the path, into like the line of fire, dead again. I didn't even get a chance, and I think that happens to everyone, but people just get used to it. And you need the map. You need the reflexes. You need the youth. I think, and I hated it because I just kept dying and dying and dying, and I won't be playing online again. 100% won't. Like, I'll stick with Battlefield. I think Battlefield's a much better online.
For you, yeah.
Yeah, for me.
See, I still like the Twitch shooters. I still like them. Like, I've been playing Mother Gunship, and we won't get into that. And that's another game Mick reviewed. But it's, again, that kind of fast-paced, but it's not multiplayer. So I think I'd like to see more Twitch shooters like this, but I'd like to see single-player camp, like Doom.
Yeah,
you know?
I've got no problem with Twitch-based shooters, but when I know that there's someone sat behind a fucking microphone laughing at me, or it's a real person.
Now, you don't know worse. That's true.
Oh, it is.
You don't know.
Look, it'd be some 10-year-old.
There was about 20 of them, Chris.
Some 10-year-old, all right. Some 10-year-old going, Mummy, look, I've just killed this loser who's only on level 1. And they're just laughing at me. And I'm like,
but they'd be right, Chris. Let's be fair.
They would be right, but I think it's rude. I think gamers need respect. You
can't hear it. Yeah, but you can't.
Yeah, but you know that's happening. Some little dickhead sat behind a mic.
Yeah, but Chris,
and his mum's bought him Call of Duty. Never really looking at the age category. You know, that's the problem. That's the problem with like Grand Theft Auto. They all buy them thinking it's just a bit of fun, and no, they're on there trolling everyone, shouting abuse, being little twats. And I just want to play a game and have fun, and just waste a few hours away after coming home from work from a 12-hour shift yesterday to just get shot to death by children.
But you took again a lot of assumption there, Chris. But can we have real Chris back now, and can character Chris go away for 5 minutes? Because I don't like angry Chris. He's scary because he's got a northern accent. I think he's going to glass me or something.
No, I'm back. I'm back.
We've got some other games to talk about, but like I think there's going to be a bit of a lull before all the biggies start coming. Maybe, I don't know. But you played The Persistence as well, but we haven't even asked Gary. Like, has you played anything he wants to talk about?
I mean, I've not really played anything other
than... That's what I thought, yeah.
I played through Salt and Sanctuary on the Switch.
Well, standard.
And, you know, that's still amazing.
Yep.
That's about it, really. That and
that's fine.
Well, I did do Yakuza 0.
Yeah, but I'm not talking to you about that until you put down the least 2 or 3 more chapters.
That's the thing, I need to play more, because, I mean, as a start, it's
a lot of cutscenes.
It's far too slow to start, but... Everyone says it's really good once you hit like chapter 3, so I've got to wait till then before I can really.
You really want Angry Chris back? Is that you really, really want? I mean,
if
the
I
characters
do
of this
that, I'll just tell
podcast.
him
Don't you say it, Gary? Don't you dare! I'm not in the right frame of mind yet. When it's out,
already in talks to have What? That's the thing, Chris. What if it? No, listen, that's another podcast.
No,
what if that game comes out and you play it and it ruins you? That's a podcast.
Then I don't want to exist anymore.
Well,
not in a real way. That's silly. Just in a non-gamey ever again kind of way.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's talk about some news. There's loads of games to come. Like you've been playing Madden as well, but there's plenty of time for that. And there's reviews. Go to godisageek.com because seriously, I don't say it often. I don't pat us on the back very often. I think we've absolutely smashed it the last couple of weeks, and there's a lot more to come. And I think if you really care about gaming and you listen to this podcast and you care enough, you should be going to godisageek.com. There's some cool stuff happening behind the scenes. There's some really interesting content coming up. And we're not even into the season where PES and FIFA are out yet. So much to come. Let's talk about news. Octopath Traveler has shipped 1 million units. Now, that game's not been out very long. I'd say that's, a month?
That's really good.
Yeah, around that.
So that's pretty good.
For a game it's kind of a small game as well, actually. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, no, definitely. Like they put like a little illustration out. They tweeted out a picture like 1 million thanks. Like Mikhail literally says, Octopath Traveler is available now, and I'm going back to playing it right now. But more than that, like ARMS has apparently sold. Let me just get these stats up. Over 2 million units.
Wow.
That's 2 million people that have bought a not great game. Yeah, worldwide. Yeah. 2 million units worldwide for ARMS, a brand new IP of it's an alright game. I'm sorry. But, yeah, sorry, I was just reading on there. Mario Tennis Aces and Tropical Freeze have sold millions. Listen, we know the Switch is popular. This is not news. Nobody is shocked by this. But what Nintendo have also done is something they don't often do. Now, I'm hoping you guys haven't clicked the link because I want to play a little game with you, okay? They've announced their sales figures. Lifetime to date, basically. So you might hear a little bit of clicking on the microphones here as I go around them. But I'm going to ask you guys if you can tell me what you think their best-selling hardware so far is to date of all consoles.
Game Boy?
Game Boy has sold 118.69 million units. That's just the Game Boy, not including like, the GBA. But it's not their best seller.
I'm half inclined to think it's the Wii, but I'm going to say SNES.
So the Wii has sold 101.63 million units. The SNES, Chris, is 49.10 million.
What?
You've not hit it. I'm really surprised you haven't got this one. Gary's closest.
Is it that? Right.
Say it. I think you were going to say it.
Is it the NES Classic?
You think?
No,
sorry, Gary. No, it's not. No, the Switch, Gary, has only been out a year, so is at 19.67, which is more than the Wii U sold in its lifetime, at 13.56.
Oh, I mean, that died, didn't it, really, that console?
The NES. The NES.
The NES is at 61.91 million units, so still not there.
Did you know it's called the NES?
I don't want to talk about that.
Did you read that article?
Chris, I don't want to talk about it because they're wrong. And Gary, who tweeted the correct opinion for once. I didn't want to get into this and spoil his facade, but Gary tweeted the complete... No, do you know what, Gary? We'll come back to this. Repeat your tweet for me about this, and you can't see me doing air quotes, story.
Yeah,
explain to the people why they are not correct.
Yeah, you can't tell someone how to pronounce an acronym.
Thank you, Gary.
It's the Nintendo Entertainment System, so... Yep. It's the same with the SNES. It's the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. So you can't tell someone how to pronounce SNES or NES.
But 10 points because you got SNES right. I will also accept Super NES.
I did realise this earlier. So apparently that's weird, according to... this is a bit...
I'm going to just ask you guys if you really want to get into this. Because if we're going to start getting into SNES v SNES and Super NES...
we'll be here all day.
Yep.
I'm cool. It's NES. Always been NES.
It's NES. It's the NES and the SNES. Yeah. And of course, the Nintendo GameCube was the Njisa, and the Game Boy Advance is the Gaba, of course. Yeah. But we still haven't got it. So I'm going to tell you that the Wii U is the lowest seller. But I'm also going to tell you that the second lowest seller, technically it's the Switch, but that's been out 1 year. The second lowest seller, think retro consoles. What do you think? What was the Nintendo console that kind of failed?
Virtual Boy?
Really, the Virtual Boy's not on this list.
I suppose it's technically a peripheral, isn't it?
But I think it's not on this list because it sold 3 copies. But the lowest. What was the red-headed stepchild of the Nintendo console family? What's the one that really didn't do very well?
DS. That's the bestseller.
Chris, yes, Chris has got the bestseller. Nintendo DS to lifetime has sold. You ready for this? Because it's a whopper. 154.02 million units.
Fuck.
Can we get the lowest then? Because we've named almost all of them, bar I think 3 or 4 consoles now. The lowest selling hardware.
The Game Boy Color.
No, that's not on here. Because I guess that comes under Game Boy. But I will say it is portable, but it's not a portable console. It's got a handle.
The GameCube?
Yeah, it sold 21.74 million units.
What a sad thing that is.
Well, let's get. I mean, listen,
it's pretty much Nintendo's best console, other than the Switch.
Gary, he's done it again.
And yeah,
he's done it again.
Gary, will you please write a book? Gary, I would pay good money for this book. Gary's opinion on gaming.
Are you two suggesting that the GameCube wasn't fucking amazing?
No, I'm saying I love the GameCube, but there's
hang on. No, Chris, let's call him on his bullshit. Gary's bullshit is going to be the name of the podcast or the video series, whatever we do with it. This is round 1 of Gary's bullshit. Gary, Nintendo GameCube, you're saying is their best, bar the Switch, fair enough, their best console. You're standing or sitting or whatever you're doing, but you're standing by that statement.
Yeah, I'd stand by that.
Name 6 games you played on it.
Home console, anyway.
Oh, here we go. Well, name 6 absolute top quality games that stand the test of time on the GameCube.
Resident Evil 4.
1.
Resident Evil Remake.
I can see where this is going. You hang on.
Mario
Remake,
Sunshine.
yeah. Mario Sunshine does not stand up in 2016.
Fuck
even though
all
we're in
y'all
2018.
that don't like Mario Sunshine.
No, I'm sorry,
Better
mate.
than
Have you got a
Mario
GameCube
64.
still? Oh, for the love of God. I can't do this, Chris. I can't do this anymore. I can't do this. He's saying that Mario Sunshine's better than... And I like Mario Sunshine. I would back you if you're saying it's a good game that got a kick in it didn't deserve. I'd back you. But Gary, once again, you've not... There's a line in the sand drawn and you've pissed all over it. It's not even legible.
Nah, I used the flood.
Yeah. F-U-F-L-U-D-D, Gary. I'm sorry. I just... You've ruined it. Doesn't matter what the other ones are. Nintendo GameCube sold 21.74 million units. Now, we get into software. Now, wow. Let's talk software. Go on then, guys. Let's have a guess at the best... Not game name, but the total million units sold. Best and worst. What do we reckon? What do you reckon the best software sales were?
Sure, it's one of the Mario games.
No, in terms of like total. So I'll give you one that doesn't count there. Like Nintendo 64, the hardware. Well, the GameCube was 21.74 million units, but they sold 208.57 million units of software. What would be the best selling? What would be the console that had the highest amount of games sold?
The Wii?
The Wii's damn close. It's number 2. With 919.94 million units. There's one that sold more. Come on, Chris, you know this. Because he said it already. Come on, Gary, you can jump in and take it.
Yeah, is that our...
No.
Are we going back to the Game Boy?
The DS. The DS has sold 948.62 million units. That's a lot of games sold on that NES. On the DS, sorry. The NES actually sold 500.01 million units. And the little Wii U. So when did the Wii U come out? Can we remember? 5 years ago? 6 years ago?
Yeah, something like... Did that come out before or after like the current consoles? I can't remember.
Oh, I think it was during the Wii U came out. Of course.
I think it was just after.
Of course, Googling it isn't helpful. Of course it isn't.
I think it might have been just after.
Oh, hang on, right. Nintendo Wii U release date in UK was November 30th, 2012. So, and that sold 102.28 million units, with the Switch already at 86.93. So, I think it's fair to say that the Wii U is just, well, complete failure. But Nintendo have gone further, and we can play this game a little bit longer because it's a slow news week. They've also announced what games individually sold the most on their most recent consoles. So, Gary, if I were to say to you the Wii U, what is the best-selling Wii U game? What would it be?
Mario Maker? Or...
Oh, no. Mario Maker is, hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm now like completely blanking on Wii U games.
Think about games that have since come to Switch.
Well, I would have thought they wouldn't have sold well.
Well, no, because they sold well before the Switch came out. So I'm going to break it down for you. I'm going to say Mario Kart 8 was the top-selling Wii U game, with Mario 3D World as number 2, Mario Brothers U at 3, then Smash Brothers, then Nintendo Land, Splatoon, Mario Maker, New Super Luigi U, Wind Waker HD, and Mario Party 10, which kind of suggests that third-party-wise, it didn't do too well. On the 3DS, well, we're here, Mario Kart 7, the top seller. People like Mario Kart, Gaz. I don't know if you know this.
They do.
And then we just is Pokemon. Pokemon X and Y, then Pokemon Sun and Moon, then Pokemon Omega and Alpha. And then we get into like the Mario games. Animal Crossing was a really good selling game. Makes you wonder why they didn't, make another one of those. But then we go back to Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, which are back in there. Tomodachi Life. So let's go way back then to the Wii. And can anyone guess, and I will be disappointed if this takes you a long time to guess, what the best-selling Wii game of all time is? Yeah, okay, you got there. What about number 2?
Mario Kart.
Yeah, got it. Okay, we don't need to go down this list any further because, my word, the Wii was an interesting console because we will quickly mention Wii Sports Resort, 3rd, Mario Brothers, Wii, 4th, Wii Play, Wii Fit Plus, Smash Brothers, Mario Galaxy, Wii Party. Starting to see a pattern emerging.
Yeah.
What's the best-selling Nintendo DS game of all time? This is a hard one because there's a lot of DS games out there. It's not the one you're going to go to first. I'll tell you now.
What's the best what? Sorry.
What's the best Nintendo game? Well, the Nintendo DS game, the highest-selling one of all time.
What's Animal Cross?
Oh, I don't even remember. That is in there. Wild World is at number 9. I'll tell you that Mario Kart DS is third.
Brain Training.
That's number 4.
Oh.
Think Mario. Because that's which it is. It's Mario Brothers. New Super Mario Brothers, number 1. Nintendogs, number 2.
Oh, bollocks.
Again, a load of Pokemon games. There's 3 Pokemon games. And in 10th, Mario 64 DS. Because remember that came out on there. And lastly for this, let's get this out of the way because I think this is going to trip you both up. Gary Chris. That's your name when you're combined there, Gary Chris. Or Chris Gary. No, Gary Chris. Today, what's the best-selling Switch game?
Mario Kart.
Mario Odyssey.
One of you got it right. And it's Chris. Mario Odyssey is the best-selling Switch game with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe at number 2, Zelda 3rd, Splatoon 4th, Splatoon 2, 1-2 Switch is number 5 somehow. ARMS.
I think that's a lot of bundled copies.
That's a lot of people buying the Switch on release day and getting the games they could get. Then ARMS, then Kirby, which is just baffling because that's a terrible game. Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, and Mario Tennis Aces. Now, what I find interesting here is Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze and Splatoon are kind of new versions of old games, and Mario Kart 8 is the third one. Makes you wonder why the Wii U fucking shit it so bad, doesn't it? Really. While we're on the sales, we'll very quickly mention that NBA 2K has sold 2K18 has sold 10 million copies, making it the highest-selling sports title ever from 2K. It was a good game.
I'm not surprised at that. I mean, that did very well.
Yeah, and we'll stick with sport and just mention that PES has got a few new licenses this year. We've got the Rangers and Celtic license. There's quite a few licenses. The Turkish League, Superliga. There's PES are all right. It's not FIFA. It's not got those licenses, but Chris, how are we feeling about those licenses this time?
I think they're good. I think regardless of who the licenses are, it's still going to be the better football game. But
bloody hell, thrown down there.
I am throwing it down, and I've thought that for a good 5 years now. But
Okay.
anyway, that's the whole debate. I think it's a great idea. I think it's good to include Scottish football in a big football game. It's always the grandiose of Europe, whereas I think this is a good shout.
Yep.
And the two rival teams, so it's going to be better for
Old Firm
those-
derby, man.
Yeah, man.
I'm all over it. Fortnite. If you didn't know it was big, if you weren't convinced it was big, Fortnite for Android is still coming, but it will not be available on Google Play. It's going to have its own launcher. This is the biggest fuck you I've read in a while. This is Epic not really saying fuck you, but them saying we are that big that we can basically do what we want. Tim Sweeney spoke to Eli at Touch Arcade about Fortnite's upcoming launch. There was a rumour that this would be ditching Google Play, which is basically the store, isn't it? This is where you buy things from. Yeah. But Epic are rolling out a Fortnite installer for Android, so they don't have to give 30% commission to Google Play. And obviously, not necessarily 30%, but by selling via PSN, by selling via Xbox Live, Switch, iOS, they will be giving some portion of their sales or to the platform holder. And this is them basically saying, we're not doing that. And yeah, like...
it's not like they don't have enough money.
No, but I mean, they've done some good stuff. We talked about, them giving more money to... people who use the engine and make stuff for the engine that other people can use. We talked about that in the past. But this is just absolutely astonishing. Like, it is a high... Like, the 30% store tax is high. But they say on open platforms like, Google, essentially, 30% is disproportionate to the cost of the services these stores perform, such as payment processing, download bandwidth, and customer service. Because I suppose what they're essentially saying is basically you're paying to get the game through their store, but once you're doing it, you're on Epic servers, aren't you?
Yeah.
So I suppose, I kind of get it, but it's just shocking that we knew it was big. Everyone knew it was big, but wow, it's big. Lastly this week, Life is Strange 2. Now, did either of you play the adventures of Captain Thingy Majig?
I haven't yet. No.
Okay. Well, this is... I don't know if this is related. Have you seen the teaser?
No, I'm not very good, am I?
No, I haven't. So I've got no interest in it. So
well, it's a dash cam of a policeman pulling up at someone's house, and then he gets out the car and the camera stays on the dash cam. He walks into the house and he's blown. Something explodes or blows out of the house. It blows the car onto his roof, and then it all shit kicks off. And then we got more coming on August the 20th when they're going to properly reveal it. I guess that's listen. Well, Life is Strange 2.
Streaming it.
It seems darker.
Yeah. Do we know any details about who it's focused on or anything? Is it a completely different story or?
Well, the assumption is that it will be about Captain Awesome. The kid in that prequel demo.
I suppose,
think.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't know if that's definite or if it's going to be. It's a bit of an odd one, but August 20th isn't long to wait to find out. So I guess we'll have to do that, won't we?
Yeah.
On to listener correspondence. Matt King at 8938 asked about Dead Cells. Because I said if anyone wants to know anything about Dead Cells on Twitter, he says, how does the game compare to Hollow Knight? Really enjoyed that on Switch and have been waiting for Dead Cells to hit console. Then there's also the question of PS4 or Switch. I guess on a TV the PS4 is a no-brainer, but I like playing Hollow Knight handheld. I kind of answered this already, but you will be absolutely fine on Switch. It's not really like Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight is more, you reveal the map as you go, whereas the map reveals as you go, but it's going to change when you die. I think Dead Cells is just a far more responsive game generally. Not that Hollow Knight isn't. I liked Hollow Knight. I do like it still, but I think Dead Cells is a far superior game. But it's also more to my tastes. I don't know, Chris, if you played Hollow Knight and you can weigh in at all.
Yeah, I played Hollow Knight. I think you're spot on. I think it's a very different story. It's very much story focused as well in Hollow Knight. And
yeah, did you review Hollow Knight? I can't remember.
Pardon?
Did you review Hollow Knight? I can't remember who did. Was it?
No, I reviewed it. I think.
I can't remember.
I think so.
Terrible, that, isn't it?
Yeah, on PC, I think.
Yeah, it was definitely a PC review.
I reviewed it on PC.
Yeah,
I think. But yeah, it's, as you say, it's different games. I can't say I prefer one to the other because I like them both individually. I'm not one's made for me. I just got better, like good things out of both of them. So I think if you like Hollow Knight, you're certainly going to like Dead Cells. It's just a lot more frantic as opposed to the more exploratory Metroidvania styles of Hollow Knight.
McPoo asks, what brand of vanilla ice cream does Gary eat? We've waited long enough, Gary.
It's Walls.
Oh my god!
So it is the vanilla of vanilla then.
Yeah.
It's not like a Kelly's, like a Cornish cream one. It's just Wool's fucking plain.
Expensive.
It's
shit.
plain
No,
flavoured
I'm
ice
fine.
cream.
No need
It's
to
plain flavoured plain ice cream.
If it makes you feel any better, my favourite is actually strawberry ice cream.
That's one level up from plain.
Is that Walls as well?
Of course it is, Chris.
No, I can generally eat most. Yeah.
Goodness me. You know, so you're not like a nice, I don't know, like I say, I've recently discovered Kelly's, and it's gorgeous as a like fudge brownie and salted caramel, and like, but not Gary, you're just vanilla or strawberry. You're a already salted fan when it comes to crisps, are you?
Nah, I'm a cheese and onion man.
Oh.
Arguably more plain than plain. Like, not Worcester sauce or prawn cocktails. Gary, I worry about you. You need to live, Gary. You need to live a little. Chris, do you have any particular brands? I mean, again, I'm a big fan of Ben & Jerry's. I don't mind a Haagen-Dazs, but I prefer Ben & Jerry's. But
I just don't eat ice cream enough, so...
I like the cart door.
Yeah, okay,
soft. There's like a mascarpone and cherry one. That's
see,
really
Gary,
nice.
do you hear that? The combination of flavours. Sorry, I broke kayfabe there a little bit. Chris Hyde asks. Let's go to Gary first for this one. No, let's leave him till last because it's always the best till last. Chris, you go first because I need to think. What's the best topping on a jacket potato?
Right, I don't eat jacket potatoes.
Just pretend you do.
Cheese.
Okay. Why don't you eat jacket potatoes?
It's a long story, mate. I could
Well, we
go
got
on
time.
for a while. All right. So I'm very funny when it comes to textures. So I'll eat chips. I'll eat roast potatoes.
Okay.
But I won't eat mashed potatoes, and I won't eat roast potato because there's a lot of like potato that gets all wet and soft in my mouth.
I regret everything.
And
There's another excerpt.
Yep.
Wet and soft in the mouth. Yeah, and that expands to like a lot of things, which it's just not.
Please don't, Chris.
No, it's not.
Leave it there.
No, it'll bring up issues.
Yep.
It brings up a lot of issues, so I'd rather not.
I'm going to say then. I quite like coronation chicken on a jacket, but I suppose. Do you know what? I was going to say just cheese and beans. But I think I'm actually going to go for tuna mayo with a little bit of spicy, a bit of chili in there to give it a bit of a kick. I do like a tuna jacket potato. I'm not going to lie. Gary, go on then. I don't like toppings. Go on, say it. I like them plain.
I don't eat jacket potatoes either.
Oh, okay.
But
again, just pretend, just getting back into character and just say
maybe a bit of pepper in there. Red pepper or something. But
so plain.
Just I don't care about food.
What do you mean you don't care? How can anyone's... That's the worst Gary opinion ever. I don't care about food. The thing that literally sustains you. Gary's just like, no, I don't care what it is. I just need to not die tonight. Just...
Well, there's loads of food that I can't eat, so I just...
Why is that?
Just kind of eat what I can, and that's it.
What do you mean? I eat what I can. Gary, you don't understand how much sense you're not making.
The stuff that doesn't make me sick.
Well, like, why do things make you sick? Are you, like, celiac or something? Or why is stuff making you sick?
No, that's just because I'm weird. I've got a terrible digestive system.
Okay, what, have you got Crohn's?
No, just don't eat that much.
Okay, I won't push any further. I don't want to. Goodness me. Robert Sison, the Sisonator on Twitter says, how many times have you hit the report button while playing Rainbow Six game because that peak shot was not physically possible? I don't play it as much as I used to. I recently have included this question. We've got an article from Nicola going up at some point about her favourite FPS, which is Siege, and how she can't recommend it to people anymore because of the community. So keep an eye out for that one, Darren at ROTMM says, I've asked it before, I believe, but some years ago. This question feels like it's personally aimed to upset me. Do you play video games with normal joystick settings or inverted controls like some bottom-feeding miscreant? I play them inverted. I have to play games inverted.
Filth.
You normal, are you?
Yeah.
Okay, Chris?
Yeah, I'm normal, mate.
Oh, fuck. This is...
You're the outcast in this
You're
one.
the miscreant, Adam.
Well, yeah, right, but like there's that mother gunship. In fact, we actually were originally reviewing that on Xbox, but there's no inverted setting in the controls. So and Mick's a miscreant with me, and we had to get PS4 code because they said they were going to patch it, and they hadn't at the time of reviewing. It's like I can't play this game like this. But Darren also asked another question he thinks is a more important question: pants or boxers? I'm going to say boxers.
Yeah, boxers.
I have a mix. I change from time to time, yeah. I like to wear boxers when I'm at work, and then when I'm at home I wear pants. So right now, all I'm wearing, my grey and orange trim underpants.
Were they originally white and now they're grey, or...?
No, they were bought grey. They were bought grey.
Yeah, okay. I'm the opposite way around. I like to wear a more tight-fitted outfit when I'm not at home. Moving on. Ryan Sandre, God is a Geek, we're called now. God is a Geek alum, R.L. Sandre on Twitter. How do you milk a coconut? And I'm assuming he's asking you, Gary.
Why me?
Because you always have the best opinions.
Surely it was a machete in it.
Yeah, okay. It'll work. You ain't going to get much of the coconut milk out of it, but, you know... Chris, how do you milk a coconut?
Fist it through the roof.
Okay, and I'm just going to say you get a little hand drill and just drill into it and you milk it. Not exciting.
Could use a bottle opener. Shove it in the top.
You could do that way. Yeah.
That's probably a bit safer than a hand drill, and a bit quicker.
Fair enough. Another Ryan from Team Ryan, at Nomag Ryan, asks, when was the first time you ate a Scotch egg?
Oh, there's another one. This goes into potato.
You've never had a Scotch egg, have you?
I can only eat eggs in certain ways, so I've never had a Scotch egg.
Okay, I don't know who you people are. I mean, I'm guessing Gary's going to say I wouldn't eat a Scotch egg because it's a mix of two foods, and that's too much.
No, I have eaten Scotch eggs.
Okay.
I mean, it's probably about 15, 20 years ago.
Well, it's a story I want to hear. Back in 1998, when I was a lad.
The world's most boring story.
I went in the shop and bought a Scotch egg and I ate it. We have some American listeners, and I don't know if a Scotch egg is a British thing or not. It's just occurred to me, is that a really English thing?
Have Scotch eggs.
Well, just to people who don't know, a Scotch egg is a boiled egg. Basically, you then get sausage meat wrapped around it, and then it's breadcrumbed. And so there's an egg within the sausage, within breadcrumbed kind of thing. My wife kind of makes them homemade now and again, and they're very, very tasty. I like a Scotch egg, not often, but now and again. That's the end of this week's podcast, I guess. Thank you very much, Gary and Chris, for being here with me in this lovely hot evening.
No worries. It's been a pleasure.
And obviously stay tuned to godisageek.com. There's plenty coming up. Stick on the old Twitter, the socials. You'll see it all first. You'll see it crop up there. Some cool stuff happening in the background that's going to take some time before people see it. We always like to hear from you, so make sure you leave a comment, because that's something that's new. The comment section is back on the website. The bottom of an article, you can leave a comment. You can even click God is a Geek, and then you'll see all the recent comments. Get chatting. Tell us what you think, even in this very podcast. If you're listening to it via the website, which I don't know that anyone does. I expect most people get it via iTunes or YouTube or wherever they listen, but make sure you get in the comments and just have a chat. Tell us what your thoughts. Tell us how wrong our opinions are or right they are. That'd be nice to hear for once in a fucking blue moon. I jest. Our audience is lovely. It's usually the random people who should stay and debate us and chat to us. I'm not going to beg you, but do stay. We're a good bunch of people and we try very hard. I believe we're the little team that could. Thank you for your support. Thank you again to our Patreons for helping us out this week, getting Chris to basically to London and back. That's great stuff. Gary, Chris, thanks again, and everyone else, we will speak to you whenever you choose to listen. Bye bye for now.